Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to our next BT20 deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now, taking a bit of a divergence from Gallantmon on Monday into something a little bit less meta-relevant, Chaosmon, the Axel deck. I have been testing this deck and I think it's really funny and has a lot of potential to not only do some really cool shenanigans but actually be pretty good in my testing that I've done. It's got some issues for definite and we'll cover those, but this is what I've come up with for it and I'm really happy with it. You know, so really happy with this one and I hope you guys are too. And let's get into it. So let's first jump into our egg for the deck, which is the BT20 Pinamon. Now, one of the issues with this card is the fact that it is green and it would ideally it should be yellow. Reason being is because then you could use some of your option cards in the early game, stuff like physical training in case you bricked, or Heaven's Judgment. Well, to be fair, Heaven's Judgment works if you have a green Digimon or Tamer in play. I don't think that counts for Digi-Egg though. Let me know in the comments if Heaven's Judgment counts for a Digi-Egg. I don't think it does, but because it specifically says a Digimon, whereas this is a Digi-Egg technically. Is a Digi-Egg count as a I don't know. We'll find out. Comment away, guys. What this does allow you to do, though, is when any of your Digimon with the Axel trait are played, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the Axel trait in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 2. So potentially you can Digivolve into your champions for free, or go up into your level 5s or level 6s for a cost of 1 because they cost 3 on top of your Axel trait Digimon. So it is actually really good for helping you climb up the stack. It's just I wish it was yellow. If it was yellow, it'd be great. It's good, but it would be great if it was yellow. Going into the rookies now, we play a really strange ratio of stuff in this, just because there's not enough rookies and champions really, but I have been finding it still works, just because this deck doesn't care as much about doing traditional stack shenanigans, but we've got the Leolmon. This is our searcher. You reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Chaosmon in its name or the Axel trait, and 1 option card with the Axel trait among them to the hand. So you get to double dip if you hit your option, which the option in this is so good, and you also get your Chaosmon or your Axel trait Digimon. So really good for your searcher. Also gives you Barrier as the inheritable, which is pretty nice for your earlier stuff when you're having to kind of swing in a little bit earlier before you get into your big Chaosmons. But Leomon is pretty good. Then we've got the Falcomon. Both of these, of course, can Digivolve on the Pinamon because it's an Axel trait egg. But this guy, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with the Axel trait, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1, and it gives Piercing as the inheritable. And the inheritable is actually shared by the champions as well. Also, just a little funny thing as well, Leomon still only goes for 0 on top of a Freemon, 1 on top of anything else, but this has no synergy with Leomon like at all, which is really annoying. I think why bother going to the effort of saying 0 on top of a Freemon if you're not going to give it any sort of Leomon synergy. I also understand giving it Leomon synergy as well would be a lot of text on this card, but it's still weird. Anyways, going into the level 4s now, we've got Leomon. On play, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn, and again has Barrier. Just really simple. You know, not really much to do else there, but, you know, nice and simple. The Diatrimon, also really simple, just suspends one of your opponent's Digimon. Because of the piercing you've got in here, you know, that works out pretty well. And then both of these have the Barrier and piercing, same as their rookie counterparts. Then it starts getting a little bit more interesting as we go up into the level 5s. First, Loader Leomon. And to the end of your opponent's turn, one of the Digimon can't activate when Digivolving effects and gets minus 3,000 DP. So this can shut off, it can shut off aces, because all of a sudden then when Digivolvings don't work, it can stop them from doing shenanigans next turn. I've been doing a lot of testing against my Omnimon build, for example, so we can stop them from potentially, if they've only got the one, you know, War Grey one or Metal Garurumon one out, we can stop their Omnimon from being able to clear us, you know, for example, and likewise going into the next turn, we can stop them from doing that sort of stuff as well. But it's more obviously because that's got a DNA. Actually, DNA. No, it's a DNA. It becomes a new Digimon at that point, doesn't it? Ignore me. That wouldn't work. But still, it's really cool. It's a cool card that stops a lot of that sort of shenanigans. But any sort of like blasted DNA, blasts in general, so if they were going into a Zudomon, wouldn't work. But if they're going into a blast DNA, where the Digimon becomes a new Digimon, then that effect doesn't work, essentially. So apologies, I got that a little bit wrong. But Also does have a really great inheritable. Whenever one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to this Digimon. And again, really interesting. The 5s and the 6s share the same inheritables with one another, which is really cool. Then we go to the Chromon. On play, when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and one of your opponent's Digimon gets plus 3,000. One of your Digimon, sorry, gets plus 3,000 DP for the turn. Then one of your Digimon may attack. So lets you do a little bit of aggression. Obviously, you do have to be careful because if you're not big enough, then there's that kind of issue. But if you've managed to play this out and you've got like a big level 6 or one of your Chaosmons out, and give that 3,000 DP and make that attack, that's pretty good. And then has that one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn when attacking inheritable. Then we've got Bancho Leomon, also at 4 copies. Literally everything is at 4 copies until we get to the level 7s, guys. When this card would be played, and it shares this effect with the Valdemon, which I'm going to call it Valdemon, because I think the actual name is Varodorumon, I think. And my Japanese dialect is crap, by the way, guys. I'm going to say it Valdemon, because I think Valdemon is the intention. But when this card would be played, if you have a Digimon with the Axel trait, reduce the play cost by 5. Both this and the Valdemon have that same effect, which is really good and pairs really well with our option Singularity of Chaos. On play, when Digivolving, de-Digivolve 2, one of your opponent's Digimon, then one of their Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP until the end of the turn. So you can just clear things with this, potentially, by de-Digivolving them enough and getting them down to that low enough kind of range with a minus 5k matters. Then this also has the same end of turn effect as the Valdemon, which is this Digimon and any of your other Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card with Chaosmon in its name in the hand. Then the DNA Digivolve Digimon may attack. So it gives a blitz effect to your DNA Digimon. So obviously, despite the fact you're reducing the play costs, you're very often passing turn when you play out your Bancho Leomon or your Valdemon. So by giving that end of a turn effect to DNA and then give that pseudo blitz, it just really helps with the speed of the deck. As soon as you've gone into that play, that's the combo. We are absolutely on it. And then also has the same inheritable, as I mentioned, as the Loader Leomon. So if you have this and the Loader Leomon in the same stack, that's 2 attack target changes to the one Digimon you've got, which is really good. Then going to the Valdemon, I won't go into the cost reduction on the end of turn because they're the same as Bancho, as I said. But on play, when Digivolving, suspend all of your opponent's Digimon, and one of your Digimon gets plus 3,000. One of your Digimon gets plus 3,000 DP for the turn. Then one of your Digimon may attack. So again, gives you that little bit of a boost, gives you that attacks, very similar to the Chromon. And then also speaking of very similar to the Chromon, as I mentioned, same inheritable. When attacking one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. So this and the Chromon coupled together, that's a cheeky minus 8, which is not bad. Then going into the level 7s, the Chaosmons. The first one we're going to is the BT20 one, because this one is the best one. A security attack +1, has partition, so if it dies, it will, bring out the 2 level 6s from underneath it. When Digivolving, for each of this Digimon's level 6 Digivolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and gain 1 memory. So that means, you're suspending 2 of their things, gaining 2 memory if you've got both of your level 6s underneath that. You potentially, I think, could have more level 6s underneath this. Maybe. I think it's quite difficult to do though, so I think most of the time it's just going to be the 2, so it's not that great. But the second part of the effect is really good, which is then none of their Digimon or Tamers can activate on-play effects or unsuspend to the end of their turn. So you just shut off on-plays, which is really good. And if they're suspended, they can't unsuspend anymore. It's just a really dirty effect to do, especially assuming you're going to swing in, you're going to do 2 checks, and just really speed up the process. Then we've got 2 copies of the BT16 Chaosmon. Has barrier, blocker, partition, so a really good defensive option. When Digivolving, de-Digivolve 3. One of your opponent's Digimon. So this coupled with your Bancho Leomon, your de-Digivolving 5, which is you're going to guaranteed get rid of anything nasty. If they manage to survive the -5 for the Bancho Leomon, of course. And then you give -8 to something. So both this and the Bancho Leomon are just de-Digivolving and minusing everything, which is fantastic. And then has an end of opponent's turn effect where you trash the top of both players' security stacks. And that's actually quite interesting because of the Singularity of Chaos and the synergy with that. But we'll get to that option in a minute. Then with the last one we've got is 1 copy of the EX6 Ultimate Chaosmon. Again has partition, which is really good. When Digivolving, if DNA Digivolving, you may place up to 2 level 6 cards from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. Then for each of this Digimon's level 6 Digivolution cards, you bottom deck one of your opponent's Digimon. So, you know, if you've got all 4 under there, you're bottom decking 4 things, which is fantastic. And then your turn effect, this Digimon with 4 or more level 6 Digivolution cards gains Security Attack +3 and Piercing. Now, the one thing I will say about my build specifically is I'm not playing Analog Youth. Analog Youth is really good for helping Ultimate Chaosmon get that your turn effect pretty much guaranteed, because you can add your level 6s underneath it. But the one issue you've got with it is because your pieces are so limited, if you trash too many of your pieces, you're fairly screwed for your DNAs and for your general plays. Obviously, this deck does have ways of skirting around the Digivolving and wants to do as much on plays as it can. But I still find Analog Youth could potentially just trash too much of your own stuff. If I find that I would like more of stuff in my trash to facilitate stuff like the Ultimate Chaos one, then I think I'd do it. But also, like, putting that much effort to facilitate into a one-off, because I'm not putting Ultimate Chaos at 2, you know, I don't think is worth it. But let me know what you guys think about that below. Speaking of R1 Tamer, I've actually gone for BT1 TK. And the reason being is it gives us a memory setter, which is really nice. But on play, it just lets us look into our security and grab a yellow card from there if we need a card, which helps us, you know, gives us an additional place we can search from, you know, and helps us with making sure we've got our you know, our fill of the hand. And then if that card was yellow, you then recovery +1, so you're not, you know, you're not minusing on your security at all. So I think it is actually really good in Chaosmon. But like I said, you could swap this out for Analog Youth if you wanted a bit more search power and some more kind of trash building, so that you can facilitate your your Ultimate Chaosmon. Then we've got 1 copy of Heaven's Judgment. Really simple. We're a multicolored yellow deck. Why wouldn't we use it? It's just going to -6 things into Oblivion, once for every color we have. So yellow, black, green, potentially white as well. You know, 24k maximum, which is not bad at all. Then we've got 2 copies of Yellow Scramble. One of your yellow Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card in the hand, yellow Digimon in the card in the hand, that is, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 3, and then you place this card in the battle area. As I always say with Scramble, technically you're only reducing for 1, because it does cost you 2. Start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon delay, return 1 red Digimon, 1 yellow Digimon card. I just did the Gallantmon profile, guys. Don't at me. From your trash to the top of the deck. And then if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 yellow Digimon card with 2000 DP or less for the trash without paying the cost. So you've only got a couple of targets for that, obviously the Leonmon and the Falconmon, but you can get cheeky search, you can cost reduce with the Falconmon, so you can go up into things more. So Scramble's not bad at all in this. And the security effect is not bad as well. Playing out 2000 DP from your trash, not bad. Then we've got physical training at 3. Funny enough, during some of my testing, I was actually playing this at 4, because I'd accidentally put one of my proxies for Leomon in the same sleeve as another one. So I was actually running 3 Leomons for a time and 4 of this, but I've since changed that to 3 and made sure that my Digimon are as maxed out as possible. Reveal top 2, add a yellow card, do the thing, put it in the battle area, do the other thing, delay, cost reduced by 2, boom. Training's great. But the card I really want to talk about, Singularity of Chaos. First of all, amazing name, really good name. While you have a Digimon with Chaosmon in its name or the Axel trait, you may ignore this card's color requirements, which again, this is actually another thing for potentially putting the Analog Youth in there, because this does then allow you to play this with that Analog Youth, because it is a white Tamer. So again, you definitely could put it in. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm thinking I should put it in, because of stuff like that. But I've got to stick to my guns for the minute. I like the TK in this. I'm going to stick to my guns. Besides, a lot of the time, we'll have an Axel trait Digimon, so we can just use this anyway. So, you know, it's not that bad. But anyways, what you get to do is it has a security effect where you gain 1 memory and add this card to the hand, just like X Antibody. But main effect, you may play 1 Digimon card with the Axel trait from your hand with the play cost reduced by 4. Then place this card as any of your Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. So this wants to be underneath your stack, but that cost reduction, if you play out one of your level 6s, they also have a cost reduction. So their cost reduction of 5 plus this cost reduction of 4 overall is 9, which means both of them only cost 3, which is really good. Basically, it means your champions and your level 3s will cost you nothing. Your level 5s will only cost you 2, and your level 6s will cost you 3 because of their own cost reductions. So the Singularity of Chaos is really good. You know, I've been doing a lot of testing with the Alphamon deck as well, which I might do a profile on myself, but I think I'd rather have one of the guys do it because I'm less and less interested in that deck after testing with it. And because the issue with that one is I find it doesn't really have, in playtesting anyway, that many ways of kind of you know, facilitating the DNA plays. Whereas this feels like a really natural DNA deck because of stuff like this, because you're just playing out more stuff. You know, like I said, you're playing out one of those other level 6s for just 3 cost with this. So if you've already got your other level 6 out, you know, then you can do this. Or if you've got a level 5 out, you do this, you do the Bancho, you do the Pinamon Egg, you go into the other level 6, DNA achieved. You know, it's just really good. Then it also has an end of opponent's turn inherited effect, which is if this Digimon has Chaos in its name, you trash the opponent's top security, and this Digimon gets minus 30,000 DP for the turn. So that sounds really bad. Why am I deleting my own Digimon? That seems really dumb. But partition, partition, partition. You have partition on all of your Chaosmons, which means that when they do that, they go off into 2 other bodies, which is really good because it means your next turn, if say they've got 1 security left, you're guaranteeing you've got 2 Digimon to finish them off. Along with that trashing effect, doing that also pairs well with the BT16 Chaosmon, because this has the end of opponent's effect to end of opponent's turn effect to trash the top of the both players' security stack. So not only are you trashing 1 of yours, but you're now trashing 2 of theirs because of Singularity, and then also getting 2 bodies out. It's just wow. I love this card, and like I say, I'm more and more tempted to put the Analog Youth in just so I can use this as just a normal option, but I've not been finding I needed that in testing. So let me know what you guys think of that, guys. But that is the deck. I'm really enjoying Chaosmon. It's like one of my favourite archetypes. Janky, multicolored DNA stuff. It's awesome. It's really fun, really potent, and I don't know what the results of our tier list will be for Jank Tank at this time of recording. I've not even launched the vote for that. I kind of hope this is Jank Tank legal. I don't know if it will be, because personally I think it's probably a little bit too strong, but at the same time not quite consistent enough. Somewhere on that graph it's not in the consistent enough range, but I'd love to play this in Jank Tank, guys. I would absolutely love to play this in Jank Tank. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this one, and we'll go from there. But you know, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell, and make sure you join us for Friday's video. Keep it digital.